Once in the past, the Buddha-to-be, whom we call the Bodhisattva, was born as an antelope. He was sure and swift of foot, with warm dark eyes and two sharp pointed horns. He loved to wander and browse along the paths, along the meadows of the forest where he made his home. But he lived in a thicket in the middle of the woods by a lake. Now, at the top of a tree by that very same lake, there lived a woodpecker, Satapatto. Satapatto. And in the lake there lived a turtle, Kachapo. Well, the woodpecker, the turtle, and the antelope, whose name was Kurungamiga, they lived together and they took care of each other. Well, maybe you're wondering, how did they take care of each other? Just as we do, they told each other stories. The woodpecker's stories were short and to the point. They went da, da, da. Can you do that with me? Da, da, da. Or da, 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 da. Or just da, da, da. But the turtle stories were slow and ponderous. She would say, I saw a butterfly, and the butterfly flew by. And that was her story. But the stories told by the antelope spoke of his adventures, exploring, discovering new parts of the forest, sometimes being alert to danger and leaping and running and making his escape. And often, when the antelope Kurungamiga had told one of his stories, his friends felt wiser, braver, and more courageous. Now one day, a hunter came into the forest. He was looking about for any signs that animals lived there. Well, sure enough, just at the edge of the lake, in the soft earth, there were hoofprints. Because every night the antelope came to drink, and every night he stepped close, 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 and bent his head to drink. Well, the hunter said, this is where I'll lay my snare. He pulled out his snare. It was like a large loop. He fastened it to the edge of a tree. He covered it with leaves, a bit of sand, a bit of earth, and he went off to sleep in his forest lodge, in his cabin in the woods. Well, the three friends that night, not far away, they finished telling each other stories, and they said, good night, sweet dreams, see you tomorrow. And the woodpecker flew up into a tree, and the turtle went to the lake and splish into the water. But the antelope scratched his back a little bit on one tree and scratched his back on the other. You might want to scratch your back on a tree and scratch your back on the other. And then he came stepping, 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 when he was caught. The more he pulled, the more that noose tightened around his ankle, and he couldn't move at all, and he let out a little cry. And Satapatto heard that cry. Down he came, and Kachapo climbed out of the lake and came as well, and they saw their friend trembling, frightened, with his hind leg caught. Satapatto, the woodpecker, looked at the turtle. He said, Kachapo, you have a beak. Use your beak. Use your sharp, pointed beak. See if you can cut and break the snare. I will fly through the woods I will see if I can stop the hunter. Well, Kachapo came. She sat down. She began to cut and chew the snare. She said, "Cut-a-tee, cut-a-tee." Can you say that? Cut-a-tee, cut-a-tee, cut-a-tee. Again, cut-a-tee, cut-a-tee, cut-a-tee. And as she broke the snare, as she chewed and as she worked, her friend murmured her name, just to encourage her. He said, "Kachapo, Kachapo." Can you say that? Kachapo, 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 Kachapo. Meanwhile, the woodpecker flew through the woods. "Please fly with me, open your wings." And his wings went up and down. They made a sound like his own name. Satapato, 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 Satapato. He was looking here and there, and then he spotted the hunter's forest lodge. He alighted in a tree, and he listened. And the hunter was snoring. Can you snore? A little bit louder. Well, all night long, the woodpecker listened to the hunter's snoring. And when the snoring stopped, that meant he was waking up. And sure enough, the sun was rising in the east. The woodpecker was listening. He heard the hunter getting out of bed. He stretched. Everybody stretched. He put his knife in his belt. He slung his pouch over his shoulder, and he opened the door. But just at that moment, the woodpecker flew down from the tree, flapped his wings, and struck the hunter right in the face. The hunter was amazed. He turned around, he shut the door, and he went back to bed, because it wasn't the best way to start the day. Have you ever gone back to bed? He said to himself, "This bird struck me when I went through the front door. Now I'll go through the back door." But Satapato had the very same thought. He flew to the back of the forest lodge. And when the hunter with his pouch and his knife opened the door a second time, down flew Satapato, flapped his wings again, and struck the hunter once more. The hunter was astonished. "This bird is trying to stop me from going anywhere. There must be something in my snare." He crouched down low. With his knife in hand, his pouch over his shoulder, he went quickly along the forest trail. Well, the woodpecker had to fly ahead to warn the antelope and the turtle. "So fly with me, let's fly quickly. Satapato, 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 Satapato." He flew and he flew and he flew. Well, at the edge of the lake, all night, the turtle had been cutting and chewing the snare. His beak was broken. There was blood at the edge of his mouth. He was weak. He was exhausted. But only one thin strand of that leather snare remained. And when the woodpecker arrived saying, "The hunter is coming, the hunter is coming," then the antelope easily broke the snare and went running down the trail. The woodpecker flew up into the tree, and when the hunter arrived, what do you think he saw? The turtle. He saw Kachapo, who was too weak and exhausted to escape. He said, "Oh, I thought I was going to catch a fine little antelope today. But look at this beautiful turtle. She will fetch a good price in the market." He picked up Kachapo. "She's heavy, everybody lift her up. And he put her in his pouch and slung it on his back. Kurunga Miga, going down the trail, looked back. He saw that his friend Kachapo had been seized. He came back a little ways. He stumbled and he pretended that he was injured. He made sure that the hunter could see him. "Oh, this little antelope hasn't gone far. Look, he's injured. I will catch him easily." He unslung the pouch, and with his knife in hand, he followed as Kurunga Miga led him on the forest trails right to the other side of the lake. And then, summoning all his strength, he came leaping and jumping, right back to the place where his friend Kachapo was caught in the hunter's pouch. He circled that pouch once, twice, 3 times, and then he had an idea. He bent down low. He pierced the loose fabric at the top with his pointed horns and lifted it and let it fall. And the pouch split open and out stepped the turtle. Then down flew the woodpecker. Well, the antelope spoke to his friends. He said, "Satapato, Kachapo, you are true friends. You have been brave. You have been wise. You have been courageous. You have given me my life. Now quickly, before the hunter returns, Satapato, fly through the woods to safety. Kachapo, hide in the water of the lake, and I will run and hide in the thicket." Well, they each went their separate ways, and when the hunter came back, there on the forest floor, he read the story of their friendship. "This snare of mine has been cut and chewed. Here there is some blood. This pouch of mine has been pierced. And there are hoofprints coming from another path. And this wing feather. Could it be that these 3 creatures were friends? A woodpecker, an antelope, and a turtle? Impossible. Impossible. But maybe it happened." He picked up the broken snare. He picked up the pouch that was pierced. He picked up that wing feather, and he set off, disappointed, a little discouraged, but thinking maybe next time he would catch some creatures who didn't have such good friends. Kurunga Miga Jataka.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. You may step forward.
Hi.
Like to magical experience.
So just make some rain sound.